today's session, we look at ARUtils out of hours. Whether your projects are large or small, there are a number of tasks that you need to carry out on a regular basis. Whether that's backing up the project, exporting PDFs, exporting IFCs, all of these tasks take time, and it's always important to carry them out consistently. Naming needs to be the same. Locations need to be consistent. And the other thing is that all of these tasks take time and a repeated procedure of steps. ARUtils out of hours addresses this by allowing you to script those steps, thus ensuring a consistent and repeatable outcome each time. When we first start out of hours, we're presented with a fairly simple interface. There's the out of hours control file that is currently set, and we have the option of browsing for other such files, editing that particular one, or processing the commands in that out of hours file. So let's have a look at what's actually contained in that file. So here we have the out of hours edit dialog. Now this dialog basically helps us to create our scripts. We have this area here, which is the script that's contained that we've created, our program if you like. We also have samples or snippets of all the commands that we can include within a particular script file. Therefore it makes it a bit easier to just pick the commands that we know are available to us. We then have the option of transferring these commands across. We can comment lines, uncomment lines. We can save this and go back out, or we can do a save as if we wanted to save a new file. So let's just have a quick look at this particular script and the commands that are in it. Our first line says what sort of process we're going to be undertaking. In this case it's a backup. Over here you can see that other options that we have are export. So an export would be for DWGs, PDFs, IFCs. All of those export types that are available in Revit are available to you through the out of hours script. We can also back up a file, so a copy of the file will be made. Often you'll need to back up a file when nobody's in it. With out of hours, this can occur in the middle of the night, and all of the steps will be undertaken. We can also elect to compact the file, or we can elect to update the file. So we're going to back up the file. We're going to add some version information. So this will basically add a 2013, 2015, making it obvious about what version of the software this file was created in. We then specify the file, and we simply have the keyword file, the bracket separator, followed by the file name. Alright, we then have an export path. The export path is where the new files or exports or backups will be located. And so in this case it'll be C temp exports backup test. Alright, we also have various other useful options. We can say delete views, and by using the keyword unplaced, all unplaced views will be deleted. We also have another option whereby we can delete all title block families from the project file before we do the save. Ultimately, we then do the save function. A point worth making when using out of hours is that the files that you want to process should not be open or opened via a linked file. So I've changed the model that I'm using at the moment. We'll go into our out of hours command. I'll just do a quick check of what this command's going to do. And this is a backup. It's going to add version information. It's going to pick up on local 2015, and it's going to export to the path temp exports backup test. Now, one thing to note is even though backup test doesn't exist, that will be created as part of the process. Unplaced views will be deleted, families with title as part of their name will be deleted, and then the project file will be saved. So we'll just hit cancel because we haven't made any changes, and we'll hit process. So what it'll do now is open the existing project. This project has some links in it, so they're going to be processed as well. And needless to say, with these sorts of commands, time does go by. It's the whole point of out of hours, so that you don't have to sit here watching and waiting for things to happen. So, okay, so now we've got our process log, and we can see that various things have happened. File's been opened, we've defined various things, the commands are back up, and it shows that we've backed up this file to there. You can see it's added that V2015 to the name of the file. All of the links, of course, in the files being backed up have been adjusted to have the link reloaded from that location. So it's pointing to those backup files. And it then processes those linked documents as far as deleting those particular things that needed deleting. So we'll just go OK, and if we go to the folder, you'll see now that our main file, which was sample 2015, has in fact been updated. There's even a backup copy of it there that could be removed automatically by including that delete star.00 ? .revit. But they're all there, and we can open those files at any time in the future. I've now loaded another script. This particular script relates to the export of drawing files. So in this case we've said process export. The export type is DWG. That export type could be PDF, IMG, SAT. In fact, any of the normal export types available through Revit. We've once again specified our export path, and in this case we're specifying a DWG config. So this is an export configuration that you've set up in your Revit project, and this has all the settings that will be used to export and create your DWGs. Now we've also specified a naming string, a naming template string, and in this case, because we're exporting views or sheets, we're going to incorporate the file name, and we're also going to then append the name of the view. Pretty much any parameter that's available to a view can be used here. For example, you could use revision appended to this as well. You simply use the less than, greater than brackets to enclose any naming strings. So we've also got view cleanup true. So that's an option of cleaning up the view when a DWG export takes place. And in this case, we're actually, rather than just processing the views within a single project file, we're actually processing all of the families in a folder. So we start off and say process folder, and there's a number of families in there, and then for all of those families we're going to export the view reference level, the view 1, view right, and front. And we then just close off that process folder by saying process folder end. And so these will repeat for all of the families within that particular folder. Finally, as a bit of a cleanup, a lot of PCP files are created during this process, and therefore the delete star.pcp will finish off cleaning up those PCP files. It's worth just spending a little bit of time on explaining how to create your own scripts. Of course, in this window you can simply type in the commands as you want them. The important thing is that all keywords are separated from options via a squiggly bracket, the left-hand squiggly bracket. You can simply type things in. So say we wanted to put a comment in here to make our script more readable. We could say export families to files or to DWG. When we're testing commands, we may not want to process all of the things that we want to do. We might be trying to find a bug, so we can easily comment out lines by simply selecting the lines and pressing comment. That then just adds a single quote in front of the particular line in question. And we can of course uncomment those at the right time. We also have the option of saving our script or doing a save as of the script. I don't think I need to explain these concepts. Now, the one last thing that's worth mentioning here is probably how do I get my out of hours file to actually process when nobody's there. There's a couple of ways of doing it. One is to use the timing or wait functions. So the timing function just says don't start this command until 1 o'clock, and if we save this and hit process, we'll get a waiting window come up to say, okay, 17 minutes to go until this script starts running. So that might be at a lunchtime when everyone's out of the system, or it might be waiting until 9 PM at night. There's also the option of fully automating the routine, and that's listed in the help documentation and uses Windows Tasks Scheduler. We'll just abort this and get a log window, and we're now finished. The last thing to mention is about the help system built into all ARUtils commands. By pressing F1 when you're in the out of hours editor, you can bring up the out of hours command. You can just press locate and that'll bring us to that point. And this will have all the commands listed, all the options, how to use out of hours. It also has the full out of hours automation section, and that explains how to set up out of hours to work using Windows scheduled tasks. So it takes a little bit of setup, but it's well worth the time spent. Thank you for listening. Hopefully this gives you some hope that you may be able to reclaim some of your hours and get home a bit earlier at night. Thank you all for listening to my presentation of ARUtils out of hours.